everybody. Welcome to another Friday on the Couch. It's Friday. I'm here to tell you that I am not super happy with what I'm getting out of Netflix these days. Now, I'll tell you, the new season of Umbrella Academy is excellent. Warrior Nun was excellent with the exception of ending with a cliffhanger, but that's pretty much par for the course on a streaming service television show in the first season. But their long form, Netflix does a really good job with short form. TV series, they pretty much knock them out of the park. I can't. Altered Carbon, Stranger Things, they've even the Big Show, which is one of their sitcoms, is fun. So they do a good job with that, but they really haven't figured out movies yet. I know they've gotten some Academy Award nominations and some Golden Globe nominations and things like that for some of their more art house stuff, but that's not stuff that I'm really interested in. This goes back to like Bright. Bright was Will Smith. Had a big star, had a big concept. Fairy tale and fantasy creatures living among us in the real world, and a human police officer has to go and have a partner who's a troll, and it's got magic and fairies, and it's a fun concept and a fun world and a fun idea, but they just don't pull it off. And I don't think it's because they don't put enough money into it, because you can do really good fantasy without giant budgets. The next one that they really let down on was that Old Guard movie. That was also pretty dismal. Ryan Reynolds had one called Six Underground, which was pretty bad. And now this newest one, which I'm sure you've all seen, had the previews in the last couple of weeks if you've been watching TV at all, is this Jamie Foxx and Joseph Gordon-Levitt feature called Project Power. And what it makes it look like in the trailer is that they're part of some sort of elite squad that has a pill that they take, and that pill gives them powers for a period of time, but nobody has the same powers, so it's a matter of, if you take the pill, maybe you get, you could fly, maybe you become invisible, maybe you get super strength, maybe, all kinds of different things. And that's kind of the premise. And the idea of it seems great. I'm like, oh, that's so super cool. And I'd love to watch that kind of movie. It's very much, in line with my comic book sensibilities and my fantasy and supernatural kind of, ideal for escapist entertainment. But it falls in practice severely short. Not only because the trailer misleads you into believing it to be one thing and it's not, which would have been fine had what it actually turned out to been something entertaining. So this week we're going to be looking at Project Power.
If you know the name of the movie you'd like to see, press 1 now. For a list of movies in your area, press 2 now. To get reviews from Friday on the Couch, press 3 now.
In a world with unlimited choices, but limited time, 3 friends have come, thumbs in hand, to show the way. Have a seat, kick off your shoes, and join them for Friday on the Couch.
Parental guidance suggests some assembly required. Do not try this film.
Let's start off with kind of what the basis of what the movie is about. A new drug has come to market, and that drug has the ability to give people powers for 5 minutes. You get whatever your power is, and it's kind of coded into your DNA. Whatever power you get, that's the power you're always going to get. But there are massive side effects. Some people, they can't tolerate it, and the power kills them. They explode, or they freeze to death because their body is not invulnerable to the cold, even though it's producing the super cold, or they get burnt to a crisp because they can make fire out of their hands, but they're not fireproof. The drug is like any other drug. It's dangerous to the public at hand, but people want to take it just like any other drug, especially people who think that they're going to win the genetic lottery and be able to have super, super awesome powers, whatever they may be. You have Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who is a New Orleans police officer, and he is illegally taking the drug, and we don't see him take it the first time. Once we come into the story, he's already been taking it for a time, and we find out that he's bulletproof when he takes the drug. And he's been dealing with this young, maybe 15 or 16-year-old girl who is his dealer.
Now, let's talk about prevention.
Through a series of interactions, we meet up with Jamie Foxx's character, and Jamie Foxx's character, the only motive he seems to have is to find the distribution point in the main Mr. Big of this drug cartel that's distributing this pill, this new power pill.
You don't know who I am and what I'm about, but I got to find that source. I need to get to the top of the food chain.
So you have the cop who's trying to stop him, or stop the pills by using the pills, and you have the Jamie Foxx character who's trying to get to the top of the food chain to find out who's doing the pills. Through ridiculous, bad plot development, they end up on opposite sides from each other, even though they have the same goals. Joseph Gordon-Levitt thinks that Jamie Foxx is the dealer who's producing the drugs and is trying to bring him down, and there's a big whole corrupt government subplot.
God, dude, and we know what happened last time. We were counting on guys in suits to look out for New Orleans.
And there's a lost daughter subplot.
They have my daughter. That is my world.
There's a mother with debilitating disease subplot.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how bad is it today?
7.5.
Sorry, Mom.
There's all kinds of these little subplots and little elements that they're trying to put in there to make it both relevant socially and also make it so that it is tugs on the heartstrings in a certain way. You know, you got Jamie Foxx, his daughter is missing, and he's trying to get her back. You have the girl who is, her mother is dying, and, you know, her father left her, and she has, you know, daddy issues, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt is, you know, maybe he's a drug addict, and he's strung out, but he's still trying to do the right thing, and you have racial issues that are woven into this, where the young girl and Jamie Foxx kind of get together on a certain level and have to discuss and figure out how they're going to use their power to take the world back from the man. And
But I know now I gotta work the system harder than it's working me. That's what you gotta do. You young, you're black, you're a woman. The system is designed to swallow you whole. You gotta find out what you do better than anybody else and rock that. That's your power. You take that, you leverage that, you use your power to take the system down.
you know, I agree with those sensibilities and think that, you know, yes, you want to fight for your rights and fight for your quality and all that stuff, but it's like it's shoehorned in such a way that it's clunky. It doesn't come out organically. It doesn't seem like it's something that suits the mood at the moment that they're making these speeches. You know, I understand that if you're, you know, having a nice friendly debate with somebody in a coffee shop, you might have these conversations that they're talking about racial and social justice, but if you've just had a gunfight with somebody and seen somebody blow up in front of you, you may not be as inclined to be talking about such things. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm not in that social group, but it's felt clunky to me. So overall, you have a very clunky story that spends an awful lot of time trying to make points about things that don't necessarily go with the story, and not enough time doing anything else. I really don't understand, because I watched this movie, and when it got to the end, I realized that though it had plenty of time to make these characters endearing and to bring them into us and make us really feel for them and identify with them, it chose not to. And I don't know where the time went. Because there really wasn't a whole lot of action. There was some here and there. And there really wasn't a whole lot of exposition. There was some here and there. It just seemed like the entire movie was like the scenes in between. Like the driving to a place and the waiting for somebody to come out of a building scenes and all the things that you don't really you watch in a movie because it's part of the narrative structure, but they're not the good parts. So I don't really understand where the time went in this movie, and why they used it in the way that they did. And it did not come off well to me. Another big major problem that this movie has is that it gives you absolutely nothing in terms of the villains. They are the most superficial, just bare bones representation of villains that you will ever see. And I'm not just talking about, I see this guy, I know he's a bad guy because he's big, tall, and ugly. I'm talking about that you have to be told that they're the bad guy.
Who is that? Look close. Is that big?
I don't know.
Oh, so you're the bad guy. You don't get any kind of information. You don't find out. You don't see anything to make you hate the bad guy and root for the good guy. So it's when you're finally introduced to the bad guy, you're like, oh, well, that's underwhelming. And truly, in any kind of superhero villain or even hero villain, movie, the hero is defined by their villain. Bond's best movies are the ones where he's fighting a strong villain. If he's fighting a concept, it doesn't feel as strong. It just, when he's just in the movies where he's just generally fighting, the Russian, the concept of Russia. He's got to do spy stuff because it's against Russia. It's not as strong as when he's fighting, Blofeld. When he's fighting Blofeld, that's when you really feel like you're getting a firm grasp on who James Bond is. Batman's the same thing. When Batman is fighting the Joker, you get a really good, firm grasp on who he is. When he was fighting Ra's al Ghul, it wasn't really quite as much. It's fine, but it wasn't as together because you really didn't get that sense of impending doom and driving evil that makes you go, oh, well, this person needs to be stopped. I felt like they really did a bad job with the villains in this movie. The one guy that you see the most often is a middleman.
Y'all heard the rumors, otherwise you wouldn't be here. Now's your chance to see it up close.
He's basically the salesman for the drug, and he's not a bad guy. He's not somebody that you look at and go, well, that's the guy. He's just an intermediary, a flunky, really. Great. He's got charisma, great. He's got a great look to him, great. But he's not the bad guy. He's answering to other people above, and those people who we're told are the bad guys, we get no time with them at all. We're just introduced to them, and it's like, oh yes, kill them, and that's their lines.
I will kill her, Arthur, right now, right in front of you.
It doesn't. It's frustrating, very frustrating. To me, this is like the kind of movie that you get when a stunt coordinator moves into being a director. Now, I don't know if this person who directed this movie was a stunt coordinator that moved into being a director, or a second unit director moving into being director, but that's the way it felt. It felt like somebody who doesn't care or doesn't spend enough time with dialogue and character development, being put in charge, and them going, well, as long as we got good action, nothing else really matters. It's fine as long as we got a crash over here and an explosion over here, and we use some graphic effects over here. But it didn't come off that way. My general and overall opinion of this is that it is a poor showing for Netflix. Again, like these other movies that they tried and just didn't just missed it. This had a great concept, probably would make a great television series if they ever wanted to go that direction, because the long form seems like a better fit for this. But they just did not tell a good story, did not tell it in a way that fit film writ large, not film as in a medium, but film as in like a film, a movie, a 2-hour event. It just didn't fly. So for me, it's 2 thumbs down. Boys?
My mother always told me, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. So, I'm not saying anything at all.
We're critics. We can't only say nice things. We have to say things that are not nice sometimes. That's our gig. Jeez. That being said, I didn't hate this movie completely. I thought it had some pretty good moments, good special effects, the action was nice and tight, the chase scene through the bank was cool. I agree there was definitely some character flaw, but I think higher of it than Vox does. So, I'm gonna give it 1 thumb. Seems fair to me.
All right. Well, that's 1 thumb out of 6. Not great. Probably should really avoid this movie. I know it's free for a lot of you out there, and Netflix has made a name for itself on turning these awful movies into great numbers. And I know that we're starving for content right now because none of us can go to the theaters, but this is probably one to skip because you're not going to get these 2 hours back. Trust me. I lost them already. All right, that's it for Friday on the Couch. We shall see you next time. This has been episode 36 of I'm Not Confined, but I Probably Should Be. And we'll see you next time. Bye!